Guys, it's Carrie at holisticspsychic.com in Sedona, Arizona. Just coming on to share some insights that I thought would be good for all of us to know for the upcoming solar eclipse happening in the sign of Aries on the 19th and 20th of this month. So I'm recording this in the evening of the 18th. So I guess right now the eclipse is about 36-ish hours from now. Hopefully you can hear me all. If you happen to chime in, let me know if you can hear me through the microphone or not. But I'm going to go ahead and start getting into this here. So first, let me just talk a little bit about what the spiritual significance, the energetic significance is of eclipses. So, solar eclipses always serve to empower our evolution, while lunar eclipses support us in releasing old emotions, subconscious patterns that are no longer useful for us. Generally speaking, eclipses serve to illuminate our awareness. So the solar eclipse illuminates our awareness around our path of evolution and growth, while the lunar eclipses illuminate our awareness around matters having to do with healing, again, emotional release and things of that nature. So there's some really cool extra significant things happening around this solar eclipse. I'm going to talk about those first. And then, of course, I'm going to be getting some intuitive messages for all of us for each sign. I've got my cards here as well. So I'm going to be pulling some cards in a little bit. And when I'm done with this live, I'm going to see if I can chapter it out this time. So, the first thing I want to mention is that the last time we had a solar eclipse at 29 degrees Aries, which is where this solar eclipse is happening, was way back in April of 2004. So it's been like 19 years, almost 20 years since we've had a solar eclipse at this degree of Aries. And so, in order to catch a glimpse of how this energy might be showing up for you, you could recall to see what was going on in your life at that time. For instance, at that time in my life, I had just moved to Sedona, basically set my stuff here after having a vision that I was going to end up living here. But I was already booked to do a 3-month festival tour. Some of you here on this channel know that I teach belly dance, and I was a professional belly dancer for many, many years. And so in 2004, when we had this solar eclipse, I was getting ready to do this 3-month festival tour in the Pacific Northwest, basically performing all summer. And then after that tour is when I settled in here more in Sedona. And here I am. I'm still here ever since then. So, anyway, this is a highly creative energy that we're about to shift into here. Aries is a fire sign. Aries is sort of the motivator, the initiator of the zodiac. And so it's a lot about channeling creative energy in the direction of growth. So we can all expect collectively that this is going to be a time of creative inspiration. And because solar eclipses serve to support our evolutionary journeys, our soul evolution, both collectively and individually, this is a time where we're all feeling inspired to do that creatively, channeling our own unique expression of creative inspiration on one level. And this is also a North Node eclipse. And the North Node, in and of itself, is connected to our collective evolutionary direction. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And so we can expect that collectively, globally, throughout humanity, this is going to be a time where we all feel almost like a fiery enthusiasm and motivation to really level up, so to speak, in regard to our soul evolution. Now, that is going to impact all of us very uniquely, of course. In fact, one thing that I'll say here is that these eclipses that we've got going on now, so we've got the solar eclipse happening for this new moon, and there's something else I'm going to say about that that's really cool as well. And then we have a lunar eclipse happening on the full moon in 2 weeks. And so this eclipse season is on the Aries Scorpio axis. When we have the next eclipse season in October, it's going to be in the Libra Taurus axis. So if you have your natal chart, you can get some specific or at least more clear insight around the areas of you or the areas of your life that are going to be being activated by these eclipse seasons that we have this year by looking to see where the Aries, Scorpio, Libra, and Taurus sectors of your natal chart are, and where whatever houses those happen in is going to give you some insight as to where you can expect transformation to be occurring, because again, eclipses are transformative. And so then learning about what those houses represent. So for me, I am an Aries rising sign. So Aries is my first house, and it's opposite um, the Scorpio sector of my chart, sort of intersects the seventh and eighth house. So eighth house is spirituality, evolution, things like that. And the seventh house is relationships. So just as an example of, how that's showing up in my chart, just to help you to discern how that could be showing up in your chart, just look to see where the houses are of these signs, and you'll be able to discern the areas that your life will be transforming in. So the other thing I want to say about this new moon solar eclipse is another rarity that's happening around this eclipse is the fact that last month the new moon also was in Aries at 0 degrees. Now we're having another new moon at 29 degrees Aries. So two new moons in the same sign makes this an astrological new blue moon, which really doesn't happen very often, maybe every so years. Blue moons are, whether it's a new blue moon or a full blue moon, especially the astrological ones and not just the calendar ones, are considered to be times of unique, magical, auspicious energies that we can harness in alignment with whatever our growth evolution intentions are. And this energy just really supports our intent a little bit more. So we have that going on. Let me talk a little bit more about the astrology around this eclipse. So it's a lot of Mars energy, because the sun and the moon are in Aries for the eclipse, which are ruled by Mars. We also have Jupiter and Chiron in Aries, ruled by Mars. And then we also have um, the planet Mars in Cancer right now, which is making a square to that Chiron in Aries. So let me talk about what this part means before I get a little bit more deep into things. Okay, so I'm just looking at my notes. If you see me looking down, there's so many things I don't want to forget. I made a few notes so that I'm not forgetting anything. Okay, so action oriented, growth inspiring, movement forward. We might literally feel like moving our bodies, moving the energy around in our homes. This is definitely a time of shifting energies, which is very connected to the energy of this eclipse, Chiron in Aries, making that square to Mars in Cancer. This is super significant in the way that Chiron is an asteroid that represents, it's the archetype of the wounded healer. So it represents where we have wounds to heal. This could be karmic wounds that we were born into the world with to be on the journey of healing. It can be wounds that we developed, traumas, wounds through childhood. It also represents karmic situations that are connected to childhood and family. And so the square between Chiron in Aries and Mars in Cancer, which I'm going to talk about that part in a moment, supports us in actually making huge headways in healing those old wounds. It really feels like collectively the energy is shifting from healing into being healed, to recovering, to returning to empowerment. So when we look at the Mars in Cancer, Mars is the ruler of Aries. Mars is the archetype of the warrior energy. I like to look at it as the spiritual warrior and the higher octave aspect of things, right? We're being um, very dedicated and driven in the direction of our growth, our expansion, our evolution. So when Mars is in Cancer, Cancer themes are connected to the most private sector of our life. It is our emotions. It also relates to home, family, children, which is why the childhood theme is there. So on the high vibration level, this energy really supports, boom, big layers of healing that can happen. But we do have to be aware also and be on the lookout for not getting triggered into the low vibration aspect of this square, which would be feeling triggered and having a tendency in unconscious moments to be more reactive to whatever our triggers are. So this can mean aggravation type of energy, anger, things that are on that spectrum. But when we're aware of this energy, it gives us more of an opportunity to move through it more consciously, which is why I like to share these insights with all of you. Now, we also have the sun and the moon squaring Pluto, which is still at 0 degrees Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. Uranus is higher mind. It also rules things that have to do with, just very outside of the box, innovative energies. And so, with the sun and the moon squaring Pluto, this is very revolutionary energy. All the way around, the energy around the solar eclipse is activating within each of us an inspiration to shake off anything that's been keeping us small, anything that's been keeping us in any way limited, restricted in old paradigm ways of thinking that we've outgrown for ourselves individually and then collectively. We all are feeling inspired to evolutionize, revolutionize ourselves, our lives. But we need to remember that it's not like this is going to happen overnight. Because we typically have 2 eclipse seasons per year, which are about 6 months apart, typically the energy of one eclipse season carries us into the next eclipse season. So we can expect this energy to be somehow inspiring us, guiding us, motivating us over the course of the next 6 months. So, in the next few days, especially while the eclipse, when we're getting closer to the actual eclipse time, which happens around 9:30 p.m. Pacific time on the 19th. So it's like 12:30 a.m. on the 20th on the East Coast, or then that's going to be like really early in the morning, maybe 4 a.m. if you live in a European country or in the Middle East. So just be aware of the timeline and setting aside some time to set your intentions around what your soul growth evolution uh, goals are. This could also be the growth and the evolution of more uh, material goals, manifesting things that are aligned with your highest path, so to speak, especially because this is a North Node eclipse, and the North Node is about our collective evolutionary journey, the action we're guided to take, the inspiration that we have, the motivation that we have, the creative um, energy that we feel inspired to channel, again, is going to be specifically aligned with our personal evolutionary journeys and our collective evolutionary journeys. So, for those of you who are evolutionary souls, people who are born with or have cultivated an innate sense of really being dedicated to your own evolution and leveraging the energy of your own soul evolution to somehow contribute to the evolutionary of humanity, this next few days is a really empowering time to set your intentions along those lines. So let me take a look at my notes and see what else I want to talk about here. Yes, Jupiter is smack dab in the middle of this whole stellium of planets, luminaries that we've got going on in Aries. So Jupiter in Aries is super expansive. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's the planet of growth. It's the planet of good fortune. And so while the squares that we have going on to Chiron and Pluto could be a little bit challenging, Jupiter lends a helping hand. Jupiter really sort of has our back, so to speak, in supporting us in the bigger picture energy of personal growth, positive energy, optimistic outlook. And so that's a really great energy to harness as well. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about, actually, there's two more things. So let me back it up. I wanted to talk about this earlier. The Sabian symbol for 29 degrees Aries is, I wrote it sideways on my notes, a celestial choir singing. And so this energy is a lot about us attuning to the metaphoric sound, vibration, frequency of the universe. Because of that, we might feel like we want to spend some time in solitude, quiet, so we can listen, feel, tap in, tune in, sync up to the frequency of creation. Just having that awareness in your mind, in your heart, in moving forward is a really good way to maximize um, the beneficial gifts that these energies are bringing us. And so, before I start getting into messages, uh, intuitive messages for all of the signs, the last thing I want to talk about here is that we also have Saturn and Pisces making a sextile energy to the North Node. Saturn is about responsibility, it's structure, it also assists processes of manifestation. So, Pisces being the last sign of the zodiac, Saturn in Pisces making a sextile, which is a beneficial aspect to the north node of the moon, is this is in our sense of self-responsibility, specifically around what do we need to bring into completion or closure so that we can step more fully into, I'll say, our higher timeline, which is as connected to the north node of the moon energies. So, on one hand, Saturn in Pisces assists and supports, strengthens our sense of self responsibility to bring to completion whatever we need to let go of that's not serving us. But at the same time, it supports us in manifesting what our true soul calling desires are. I really like on intuitive levels, I'm really tapping into this revolutionary energy, especially with Pluto in the mix here in Aquarius and the other things that I've already mentioned. But it feels like an exciting, activating, evolutionary, revolutionary type of time. It doesn't feel negative to me. I'm sure there's going to be some of that going on in the world, but that's not necessarily where we here on this channel are channeling our energies, right? So it does feel like it's going to be predominantly exuberant, expansive energies because of all of the Aries energy that we have going on, the Mars energy in and of itself. It's fire, it's expansive. So the element of fire also relates to the solar plexus chakra. The solar plexus chakra is very connected to our willpower. So in shamanism, it's connected to our intent, our connection to our dedication to our intent. It's also about living in alignment with what our true enthusiasms are, our true passions, motivations. The solar plexus chakra in and of itself is expansive, radiant energy. And so looking into solar plexus chakra related um, healing practices or empowerment practices are beneficial to do over the next, not only the next few days, but really the next few weeks, I would say, because this energy is unfolding over the next 6 months. And these squares that we have going on with Pluto and Mars are still going to be happening by the time we have the lunar eclipse on the full moon 2 weeks from now. So this is going to be like a longer term energy that we're unfolding into. So if any of you have questions about these energies, you can feel free to reach out to me through my website, holisticspsychic.com. Obviously, as you know, I work with astrology in addition to being a professional psychic reader and energy healer. If any of you would like for me to take at least even a quick peek at your natal chart within a shorter psychic reading session to see how this is going to be unfolding for you and how you can specifically work with the energies, definitely feel free to reach out, holisticspsychic.com. And I do offer video chat sessions globally, so be aware of that as well. So I want to get into sharing some additional messages for each sign. So I'm going to start with Aries. So all of these messages that I'm getting for each sign, I'm going to pull one card and I'm going to share what the message of the card is and blend that with whatever intuitive insights are coming up. So as I'm calling out the signs, these are going to be for your sun sign, your rising sign, or if you have a strong energy signature of that sign in your chart. So let's go ahead and dive in with Aries. And while I'm talking about the messages for the signs, I'm also going to weave this into themes that are connected to the signs so that if you have these types of themes coming up in your life as well, it would definitely be worth it for you to just listen to all of the signs all the way through, because we're going to be talking about themes such as how to work with your feelings through this, how to work with your thoughts through this, how to manifest the energy, how to balance the energies, and all of that. So, first up is Aries, which is also about our self expression, our self identity, and our level of motivation. And so, let me just take a moment to tune in psychically here. Okay. And I'm selecting a card now for Aries. Aries Sun, Aries Rising, strong Aries signature in your chart. Or if you personally feel that you have issues going on right now that are about your self identity, your self expression, your self motivation. Let me see what wants to come up. Okay, the Moon card reversed is coming up. The Moon card really is about our primal nature, especially when it comes up reversed. I'm going to go ahead and turn it right side up so that you can see it well. When the card comes up reversed, though, it can speak of our shadow side, unconscious aspects of ourself coming to the light of awareness during this eclipse. So for Aries, this is a really good time ultimately for meditation. Aries, or if you are having themes in your life connected to self identity, self expression, self motivation. The Moon card reverse says take time for meditation, tuning into those deeper layers of what's going on with you subconsciously. What are your subconscious deeper goals, enthusiasms, desires, passions, goals, dreams? Reflect on that, meditate on that, contemplate that, do some journaling about that, because that will enable you to get clear on whatever it is that you need to get clearer on regarding self identity, self expression, motivation, and creative inspiration. Okay, so next we're going to look at Taurus. Taurus is all about utilizing tools. Taurus is grounded energy. And I want to bring this up because in the next day after we have the solar eclipse, we come into Taurus season. So let me just talk about that for a moment. Aries energy initiates, brings expansion and enthusiasm, while Taurus grounds and roots in. So that energy supports uh, the manifestation of whatever we're putting our energy into right now. I'm going to talk about that in another few days. I'm going to upload a video about Taurus season. So, if you are a Taurus, you have Taurus energy in your chart, or you're having themes in your life around tools you can harness to really root in what your ambitions have been. Let's see what wants to come up here. The Nine of Wands reversed. The Nine of Wands reversed basically is letting go of any unnecessary activity. It could be an actual activity in your life, or mental activity, emotional activity. Letting go of activities that are depleting your energy is the nature of this card reversed. When this card comes up, it can indicate growing weary over things that you've been standing up for, that you might be realizing now are not really aligned with what your true core values are. And that's a big part of this energy that's showing up right now. This evolutionary energy, this revolutionary energy can be connected to paradigm shifts, shifts in our fundamental belief systems. And so for Taurus, the message for you and this card showing up reversed is allowing whatever's not serving you, whatever's cluttering up physical space in your life, mental, emotional space, shed, release, let go of what you need to let go of so that you can really kind of buy some energy back for yourself to fortify. Fortification energetically is what wants to happen for you, Taurus. And that's going to happen through letting go of the things that are exhausting you and are not giving you any type of value in exchange, right? For me, I don't mind exhausting myself if there's a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. But if not, it's not worth it, right? So, as I'm talking about these messages, feel free to post in the comments section anything that you'd like to post about how this might be showing up for you or questions that you might have, and I can address them later after the live stream. Or if I see it pop up, I'll address it, live while we're doing the live stream here. So Gemini, let's see what wants to come up for Gemini. Gemini Sun, Gemini Rising, strong Gemini signature in your chart, or themes that you have in your life right now that are connected to communication, thinking, learning, studying, all of that. Okay, Gemini message. Interesting, it's the Eight of Swords coming up reversed. The interesting thing is that the suit of swords in and of itself is our mental energy, and Gemini thrives in the realm of intelligence. And so when this card comes up in the upright position, it can indicate something you're feeling stuck with in your mind. It can indicate literally almost paralyzing uncertainty and indecision. So when this card comes up reverse, in the very least, it lessens the degree of that feeling of being stuck. And typically, the wisdom teaching is around being able to make some type of choice or definitive decision that at least enables you to get some type of energy circulating. So if you're a Gemini that's been on the fence, or if you're a person who's been ruminating about some type of challenge, if you've been mentally ruminating, it feels like it's time to stop that cycle and make some type of decision that enables forward movement. Keeping in mind that you're just making a decision for now to allow there to be some type of forward momentum or movement, but that it doesn't need to be the end all be all decision, right? There could be other decisions down the road. When we feel stuck mentally, when we feel riddled with uncertainty, making some type of decision is a really good way to get energy flowing. Sometimes that decision can be, I'm not going to decide right now, which even doing that frees up a lot of mental space. It frees up the pressure you've been putting on yourself. So whether you need to decide not to decide or make some type of decision that enables you to feel unstuck so you can get a momentum going, this is what this is what the message is for you right now. Now let's come into Cancer. So message for Cancer is the Ten of Wands. This makes sense for Cancer because a lot of Cancerian folks are naturally super empathic, and therefore oftentimes we um, forget to keep our boundaries intact and strong. So the Ten of Wands depicts an energy that happens when we've unintentionally allowed the strength of our boundaries to slip. This typically happens, it can indicate a sense of burden, weight on your shoulders that typically comes from your good intention, of wanting to be of service and helping other people. And then when this card comes up, it is that you've taken on too much, perhaps, and you're realizing where you're cutting yourself short or selling yourself short on the energy that you need to preserve for your own self, for your own thriving, for your own growth. So this becomes a message about checking in with yourself around your boundaries, checking in with, am I feeling crowded out of my own life? Have I unintentionally allowed my energy, my time to be consumed with being of service to other people, and I'm feeling depleted? And so for Cancerian people or people who are having these types of themes coming up for you in your life right now, the message is around examining and fortifying boundaries. So I'm just going to quickly say my little 2 cents about boundaries here. Boundaries are not about putting walls up or pushing people away. Boundaries are about realizing what your needs are, what your intent is, and being accountable and responsible for holding the space, the energy space that you need in order for those things ultimately to shape up or manifest. All right. So let's move on to Leo. Leo is all about creative expression. It can be about manifestation as well. So if you're a Leo, strong Leo signature in your chart, or you're having themes in your life around creative expression and manifestation, this message is going to be for you. And it's the Death card showing up reversed. The Death card is an energy of transmutation. It's very much about rising up into your higher, more exalted aspect of yourself, metaphorically dying to the old and outworn and birthing into the higher vibrational frequency of you. So it came up in the reverse position, which typically is a message to allow the process, not resist the process, not avoid or ignore where there might be a need for this type of transmutation in your life. Because Leo is very creative and very much about creative expression, also very much about romance, um, really intermingling socially. And again, it can be about manifestation. It's important for you to realize maybe where you've been holding yourself back, or maybe there's been circumstances that you feel have been holding you back, where there can be positive transformation along those lines. So ask yourself, in what area or how do I need to have some type of liberating transformation in my life so I can be completely in my creative exuberance? Okay, Virgo. For Virgo energies and themes, you have in this deck, it's called the Seeker of Cups, but it's like the Knight of Cups. And this is romantic energy. It's poetic, it's dreamy, it's connected to the arts, even things having to do with healing arts. And I'm mentioning that part because Virgo is the archetype of the healer. And so if you're a Virgo, in what ways are you feeling guided to channel some healing energy towards yourself in ways that enhance and uplift your self fulfillment, your self joy, your self love? If you're having Virgo themes in your life, on the challenge aspect of Virgo, Virgo can get stuck in their heads and analyzing things. So this can also be a message of chilling on that level and dropping more into the feeling space of your upliftment. So it's not just intellectualizing a feeling of joy and upliftment, but actually allowing yourself to feel it can be a really good mindfulness practice for you right now. And we're coming into Libra. Libra is all about balance, harmony, and the Nine of Cups coming up reversed. We're getting a lot of reversals today. So the reversals in the tarot are not negative or bad or anything like that. They just emphasize the energy, the meaning, the message a little bit differently. So the Nine of Cups in and of itself is a very prosperous energy, typically in the way of manifestation. Typically, when this card comes up, it's a confirming message that you are right now aligned with experiencing, creating, and manifesting whatever your bigger picture, most meaningful, or deepest goals and dreams or intents are. So when this card comes up reversed, it's a reminder to do a little check-in with yourself along those lines. What are my deeper ambitions, my deeper soul callings, my deeper goals and dreams? Having that awareness, Libra, is what's going to enable you ultimately to experience it, create it, and manifest it. So doing a little check-in with yourself along those lines. What really are my deeper goals and dreams? What am I aspiring towards? What is the trajectory that I'm on right now? And is the trajectory or the path that I'm on aligned with supporting the experience, the creation, or manifestation of those soul calling level of goals and dreams? Now we're coming into Scorpio. So the full moon lunar eclipse that we have in 2 weeks is in Scorpio. So this energy is pretty significant for all of us now. And let's see what the message is. For Scorpio, it's the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords depicts a time of momentary retreat. It's a time of renewal. The myth of this card is about having been out in engaging in some type of metaphoric strategic battle in your life and needing to come in and reset your space, reconsider your strategy. It's also about literally allowing replenishment energetically. So it's swords, and the swords are about our mind level of things. But one of the key elements of this card is the green. That in this card, the person is wearing green, and there's a little bit of green on this crutch here, which is heart chakra. So the way that we replenish ourselves, if you're a Scorpio or have Scorpio themes of transformation happening in your life right now, it's not through mentally analyzing, it's through being in your heart space. Being in your heart space. Now, shamanically speaking, our heart is the spiritual heart in the center of our chest, is where we access in shamanism what's called your silent knowledge, your silent knowing, the consciousness of your soul. So when it comes to matters of soul evolution, we want those awarenesses to be coming directly from our soul. And then we give our mind the task of guiding us in the direction of that, co-creating with spirit. Sagittarius energy. the Four of Pentacles. So Sagittarius is also a fire sign, which is connected to this enthusiastic, expansive energy that we've got going on around this solar eclipse. Sagittarius is a seeker, seeking adventure, seeking experience, ultimately on the high vibration level, seeking higher awareness, knowledge, education. So when the Four of Pentacles comes up, it's a message to ultimately, on the bigger picture level, allow yourself, have enough faith in your path to energetically invest in it, which is sort of the solution to what the meaning of this card is. Because when this card comes up in and of itself in the tarot, it can indicate a little bit of a feeling of uncertainty around how you're being supported in life. That can be literally financially or just your level of feeling supported by the universe. It warns against accidentally slipping into lack consciousness or fear around being supported in life. Hence, it's the message of having enough faith in yourself and what your feeling, your inner feeling of path is, or what your enthusiasm is right now, whatever it is that you're seeking. Let yourself energetically invest in that. And it doesn't even have to be financial investment. It can just be investing your energy in the direction of that which you seek to explore, adventure into, discover, and experience, which those are all keywords that are connected to Sagittarius themes. Okay, Capricorn, my sign. I'm a Capricorn. I'm Capricorn sun, Aries rising, Pisces moon. The Magician. Awesome. The Magician represents an active force in the process of manifestation, which of course is Capricorn's domain. Capricorn is an earth sign, practical, methodical, deliberate, intentional, wherewithal. And the Magician card is very much about a confirming message that you do have the resources, the tools that you need in order to create or manifest whatever your intentions are right now. So it's actually a time of beginning to wield that energy of creation, initiate, activate that creative process of manifestation. It's also about literally working with the elements: earth, air, fire, water, space, which is connected to the fact that all of the suits are in this card: cups, wands, swords, pentacles. And this goes back to the message that was coming up earlier uh, around manifesting, the manifestation energy that's connected to this particular eclipse season right now. So for Capricorns, it's green light. You can see there's actually green in this card and a lot of orange, which is second chakra. Orange, second chakra, is creative inspiration. So what I'm seeing here intuitively, it's the blending of your creative inspiration and your silent knowledge. As long, Capricorn, as long as you are moving forward with manifestation intentions that are connected to what your silent knowledge is inspiring in you, and you're harnessing the power of your natural creative inspiration, that this can really be a time of laying the groundwork for successful manifestation endeavors that can really be over the next decade. Aquarius. So Aquarius is pretty significant right now, because Aquarian energy, because it is connected to the eclipse in the way that we have that Pluto square to the sun and the moon. And Pluto is in Aquarius right now. So if you are an Aquarius theme in your chart, this message is for you, and it's the 10 of Swords coming up. The 10 of Swords is a gateway energy. It's a transformational energy. Anytime the 10s come up in the tarot, it signifies being in an integration phase that happens when you're completing one cycle of experience and you're entering into a new cycle of experience. The 10 is like having one foot in each realm. What is of value that I've learned from this cycle that I'm completing that I can carry forward? And now I'm integrating that in preparation for moving forward. And the 10 of Swords specifically is about the transition that happens with this, is releasing, clearing away anything that is connected to what I collectively call shadow thinking, worries, doubts, fears, concerns, judgments, criticisms, all of that. However, that's been showing up for you in your awareness, this is a time where there can be a complete discharge of those energies. It's the end of worry, doubt, fear, concern, uncertainty, self judgment, self criticism. And you can see in the background, there's the sun coming out, illumination of awareness that feels like it's about a renewal of faith in yourself. Faith in yourself, faith in the divine energy that expresses through you, faith in life, faith that the universe is always supporting you, letting go of any uncertainties, fears, worries about whatever your goals are, and replacing those things with unshaking faith in your ability to experience or create or manifest those things. And then we are at Pisces. Let me dig in here. Pisces feels like it wants to be this one. The Four of Cups reversed, which this can be really fitting for Pisces because Pisces, and I know this well because I'm Pisces moon, can be really kind of lost in the mist of life. Pisces also are very intuitive, empathic. We have a tendency to give to everyone but ourselves and leave ourselves last. And this literally is a message saying you got to fill up your own cup, right? So this card depicts a figure sort of in a discouraging posture, slouched over, looking down, looking at these cups that are spilled, which represent discouragements, disappointments, letdowns. But a lot of those discouragements and letdowns can sometimes just be based on our point of view of things and not really the actual reality of situations that are going on. And sometimes, especially in this case, we might be during this eclipse vibe over the next few days. There could be a little bit of a remorseful energy, is what I'm getting, and realizing where you may have thrown your pearls to swine, so to speak, where you may have extended a lot of energy, generosity, helpfulness, kindness to people or situations that didn't value it or honor it or acknowledge it or appreciate it, which can end up being a lesson about not putting ourselves last. Filling up our own cup, which you can see there's this full cup here above the person's head in uh, the myth of the tarot. This card ultimately represents the importance of your point of view. Am I seeing life as in a pessimistic or an optimistic point of view? Is the glass half full or half empty? We don't want to be so focused on what we feel discouraged by that we're not even tapping into the infinite possibilities and potentials that we can tap into. Now, this is bringing me to a message for all of us collectively that's going to be really helpful in moving through this. Because when we look at this image here, this is a person almost feeling sorry for themselves and really, focusing on, oh, poor me, all this, you know, mm, negative things happened to me, and I'm just having a pity party for myself. We have to remember the workings of cosmic law in how things manifest. Sometimes looking at it, we can look at it from a spiritual perspective, but we can also look at it on the quantum perspective, quantum physics perspective, the point in which science and spirit meet. So we live in an atmosphere that to us appears to be empty, just air. But the reality is the atmosphere that we live in is filled with divine intelligence. We live in an ocean of divine intelligence in the same way that fish live in water. And in the same way that fish are not aware of the water they live in, we sometimes forget about the divine intelligence energy field that we live in. And that divine intelligence energy field is constantly responding directly to whatever we are broadcasting energetically. And the way that we broadcast energetically is through our feelings, our thoughts. Also, there's things like our physical health and the strength of our life force vitality strengthens or weakens the signal of our broadcast. But our broadcast is always based on what we're primarily thinking and feeling. And whatever it is that we're primarily thinking or feeling is what the divine intelligence that we live in is going to respond to. So if we have a negative, discouraging outlook, pessimistic point of view, we're really just perpetuating that energy in the now, which is going to mean more of that energy is going to be there for us in the future. So the better, more conscious road is to be really deliberate and diligent about the quality of thoughts that you allow yourself to entertain. Seeing, envisioning, sensing, feeling, thinking about the life that you desire to have, but you have to do it in a way where you're embodying that energy in the here and now. If I want to be happy in my life, I have to be literally authentically embodying, experiencing, feeling, and broadcasting the mental and emotional and physical energy of happiness and joy in the here and now in order to perpetuate an energy momentum that's going to keep me in that solid flow and bring experiences to me that ultimately are uh, reflections of that energy that I'm putting out. So, because this eclipse is a pretty intense one, also another thing I didn't mention, this eclipse um, is unique in the way that depending on like in the path of where it can be observed on the earth, depending on where a person might be on that path, some people will see it as a total solar eclipse. Some people will see it as an annular eclipse, which means it's almost total, but you can see a ring of light around it. This is called a hybrid eclipse. And this only happens a few times in a century. So even that makes it really unique. There's a lot of really unique energy signatures to this eclipse that are more uh, rare or less common. It's very much like an uncommon, unique time of evolutionary change and growth. And so we really want to be diligent in what we're picturing, what we're imagining, because whatever we're feeling, sensing, picturing, imagining, thinking is literally what we are dreaming into being. We're dreaming into manifestation. So, spending a few moments, even a few minutes in meditation at the beginning of each day, instead of just letting your mind wander to whatever your stresses of your day ahead is, be really deliberate about, I'm going to take a few moments here and envision myself living in complete harmony, joy, happiness in the here and now. Come what may, my happiness is not dependent upon whatever's going on around me. I'm just choosing to be happiness. I promise you, you guys, this is the key to manifestation. I do it all the time. So I know for sure it works. Practice it yourself and come back and comment on how your experience is. It's a really good way to shift energy, like actually relatively quickly. So I'm glad to be here and sharing space with all of you, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up now because it looks like it's been about an hour. But wishing you all a blessed, magical eclipse time. Of course, I'm going to be chiming in again around the lunar eclipse in 2 weeks. I'm also going to upload a video about the personal growth masteries that are connected to Taurus season as well. So Okay, guys, love you all. Thanks for chiming in with me, and I'll see you again around the corner in the next video. Bless.